What's happening, everybody? Willie here at the Great Outdoors having a nice bottle of water. Our inner circle are here today to look at is a cardboard box. Things have been sent to me. I have actually been buying stuff. You know, when I was laid out in the old bed in there with the back that wouldn't unfold, like an old rickety aluminum beach chair from the 1970s. I ordered a few things, got some stuff. I actually got some new microphones. They went on the old Black Friday sale thing. I got a couple more of those. I ordered a fly rod that I am very happy at some point to show you because it's over there from a company I've never heard of, but it was on Amazon and they had good reviews and we went ahead and bought that. I'm going to show you that and show you the company here very soon. But right now, today, we're going to look at what's in this box. Now, my buddy Leon, this came out of Pensacola, Florida. He had some reels, I had some reels, we had some reels. And we swapped those reels, boxed them up and sent them to each other. And by the way, anybody who happens to live somewhere around Jacksonville, Florida, if you happen to see a small box about this big probably, and it happens to have my name on it, just in case you happen to come across it, there should be an Abu-Matic 170 in it, as far as we know. It never made it here. It fell into the black hole known as Jacksonville, Florida. Anything that comes from Pensacola to Virginia, to me, goes through Jacksonville. And for whatever reason, it gets to Jacksonville and likes to spend anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, or it never comes out. I felt bad for old Leon because, you know, he paid to have it shipped. He paid when he bought the reel and sent it to me, and then, you know, then I feel bad for me because I didn't get the reel. Now that poor reel, you know how I am. I want to get the thing back out there fishing again, put it back together. Now it's just out there in limbo somewhere in Post Office Black Hole of Jacksonville. We don't know. So if you happen to see it, it's mine, all right? Just let me know you have it. That's all I need to know. I just need to know where it's at. And that it's not like some paperweight on some postal worker's desk or something, you know? Anyway, we're going to dig into this thing, and we're going to talk a little bit about a certain company today, Abu Garcia. Now, I am a Abu Garcia fan. I am a Garcia fan. I'm a Mitchell fan, which actually Garcia got involved with, you know, later on down the line. And the reason for this is because of the very first reel that actually I considered mine. My mother had got it for me. We've talked about this before. Was an Abu-Matic 120. The Abu-Matic 120 was what I used to call the copper top because it had the copper colored cap. Did not have a drag star. It had a screw on the side that you could, let me show you. I think there might be one in here. Hey, look. Thank you. I got a thank you from old Leon. I don't know why. Thanking me for taking these reels from him. Is that what this is all about? We're going to dig into here. What's in here is a jag load of Abu Garcia. Now, I'm going to tell you outright that's what's in here, because that's what's in here. Now, when I got that reel, my mother came in and handed it to me. I didn't know anything about it when I was a kid, but I wanted to fish. And Mom went to some relatives and some people like that. My mother fished. She didn't know how, but, you know, coming up in the time frame that she came up with, it had a lot to do with cane poles, things like that. She didn't have any fancy fishing reels. Maybe a Zebco 33 if she was lucky, but I doubt it. You know, she was one of those moms that, you know, went down to the well to get water and, you know, walked to school in the snow, uphill both ways, no shoes. You know, had to kill a mountain lion with a number 2 pencil, you know, that kind of thing. And so she grew up in that world. So to get me a reel that I could actually fish with, she had me quite young out there in the old hard white shoes and the little jumper, catching bluegills on a Zebco 33. I'm sure it was some form of 33. Might have been a 202. It could have been 1969-ish, 1970-ish. And later on down the line, when I decided I really wanted to fish more and have my own stuff, she went to a relative and found me a reel. That reel that she found me was an Abu-Matic 120. And it's what I called the copper top. Very similar to this. Now, this 120 is a little bit different because it has the short button. Now, to be honest with you, we didn't even know that there was a difference, that there was a short button and a long button 120. Didn't know that. I'm going to show you these real quick. You see you got a long button and a short button 120. You notice that. And if you notice the cap difference, you have the recessed cap. Then you have the completely flat cap. You also have a shiny black paint job, and you have a rough black paint job, kind of like a bed liner kind of thing. The 120 and the 170, in my opinion, probably had to be the most available Abu-Matics that they ever made. But this one, quite cool. This is actually a very good looking reel with that recessed cap, and it says Garcia on the side. You have your release switch. I'm going to try to show you here. Your release switch right there, that releases the spool on the inside. You have no drag star. You have a bolt or screw right there, which you could use a nickel, dime, or quarter, depending on what financial status you grew up in. Me, I would have picked up a stick and wedged it in there and tried to turn it, or an old pocket knife, whatever I had, an old Henry, you know, those kind of things. Anyway, the 120, very cool reel. I always did like it. The only thing was, you know, having to adjust that drag. Now this also has the drag release. You kick it backwards and you can release, say the fish is really putting it on you and you're afraid he's going to break. You can work him, you know, tire him out, then kick it backwards and it will release. Very cool reel though. I really like these things. And then he wanted to send me this one because I didn't have the short button style. I only had the 2 long button styles, and that's pretty darn cool, I have to say. Let's see what else is in here. There's a random crank arm. Oh, I think he said something about a crank arm being in there, so I'll have to put that on. Where'd my knife go again? I don't know why I put that away. Which one is this? Is this a 140 or a 40? Okay, this is the 140. Now, I've done a video on a 140. We all know that if I like it, I want 2 of them. It's just how I am. I like having 2 of something that I really like. Because if I'm using it and something breaks, well, I have another one to fall back on. Some people don't think of things that way. I do. Now, the 140 to me basically is a 120, but you have that drag star that you did not have. You still have a screw there, but that screw, all that screw does is hold the crank arm and stuff down and hold the drag button on and all that. The 140 is a very cool reel. I do like it quite a bit. Just having the upgrade of the drag star, and it still does have the kickback drag release, which is kind of neat. I need to put that crank arm on here, but we'll do that in just a little while, because right now we got other ones to look at. Now you've seen me do 120s and you've seen me do 140s. Now hopefully what we're getting ready to look at are things I don't have, which is why Leon and I traded up a little bit. Also would like to say while I'm unwrapping this thing, for those of you who sent all the comments to that video that Evan put out about me and my back being messed up, I very much appreciate each and every one of you, and I thank you. Yes, I'm up and moving around and getting back into things again, having to be extremely cautious of what I do. Today at lunch, I roached. I tried to take a biscuit out of a basket that was on a biscuit basket I was trying to get some food off the table, and I simply twisted to reach, and that spot in my back. You ever touched a lawnmower spark plug or something like that when it's running? Exactly how it felt, way down low over to the right. Didn't like it. Didn't like it a bit. Okay, what do we got here? What's this one? This is a 40. This is a model 40. Okay, model 40, you still got that champagne color. This is very much like a 60. Now, what the difference is, I don't know. Where's my 60s at? Okay, we got a 60 here. Let's get this 60 out and take a look at it. Could the only difference actually be one's red and one's gold? Huh. Maybe there's something internally, because the 60 and the 40 look identical to each other, other than one's red and one's gold. Well, you know, that's going to be a let's dig into it and find out kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, that's what we're going to look at. That looks like it's in pretty good shape. That's all working okay. It's got a drag. I think that's got the kickback as well. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's part of the issue. I don't know. We're going to have to dig into that and see. That sounds like a kid's bicycle bell that doesn't work. All right, we got one more left here. Let's take a look at it. A 160. What is the difference? Well, I can tell you this, that the difference, or one of the differences on the 160 is, it has the lever, I believe, on the side there for releasing the spool on the inside, which is a lot like, you know, the 120, you know, the 140. So you got the 160 that has that release for the spool. Is that the only thing? I don't know. I like how smooth it is though. It's got a little bit of a, yeah, it's got a little bit of a ticked off bumblebee in there, but that's not a big deal. The other thing I'm noticing is you start getting into the 160, you don't have the metal clamp if you can see right there, you got a little metal clip you have to push down on. It's got a little saw blade on the side there, and that's what keeps the cap on. They took that away, but for some reason the 120 doesn't have it. So there's one little thing. Doesn't say Garcia on the side anymore. The 120s say Garcia on the side right there. And you don't have a nameplate. This is a 40, you see it's got the nameplate right there, but it doesn't say Garcia on the plate right there. So the thing is, which one are we going to dig into today? 160 doesn't seem bad. How about we dig into the 160 first, and maybe next week we dig into that 40. All right, Mr. 160, show me what you've got in here. Well, that is fairly typical. Nothing out of the ordinary there, which is one of the things that I kind of like about these reels, is that a lot of their stuff, you know, it overlaps and you can use it from one reel to the next, like this cap, for example. The only difference is, you know, you had a 170 that had this recess top as well as the flat top. We have a dual pickup pin. You just hold on to the crank arm, give her a spin, off she comes. That looks pretty much the same inside there. Okay, the 170 has the old level line on there. Press in on that switch and you can lift the spool right off. One of the things I liked about these spools is you notice that the edge of the spool kind of goes out flat and it gives you a line there, which kind of tells you that's where you need to stop putting the line on at. That's kind of neat. Okay, everything in there looks pretty much typical, normal. There should be, these screws should have C-clips on it that keep the bolts from coming completely out. Let's see if that is true. Okay, that one must have a C-clip because it's not coming out. That one also seems to have the C-clip because it's not coming out. See the C-clip right there? That's what holds that bolt in, or screw, however you want to look at it. Screw if it has a flat head, I guess. Bolt if it's, you know, hexagon. What do we got on the inside here? We got a button. Not scared to push it. And then we got inside there. Everything looks about normal in there as well. Pull that out of there. This has got a little short shaft here. Come on out. Okay, this is a short brass shaft here. It is big on the bottom, thinner on the top. Thinner side goes up inside there. This being the tunnel, slips up inside there. So we got to pop that C-clip. There is a C-clip right there that holds the pinion gear up into the shaft. We got to get that loose. The gear appears to be in pretty good shape. There we go. I got it. See that clip right there? That is what holds the gear in. Now this should be a reverse thread. See that? That is a reverse thread. On normal circumstances, that would be tightening. We are not. That is loosening. See that little thing? Just keeps that star from coming off of there. Now, the star unscrews in a normal fashion. Now, this is important. Inside this crank is very important mechanisms. Okay, one, we have a washer. There should be two of these. This is a shaped washer. It's flat on two sides, and it goes over top of the crankshaft. Okay, now there should be a spring. There's your spring. And in the bottom, there should be another one of those fitted washers. Oh, with a, this one now actually has another washer in the bottom under that. Don't know that I've ever seen that before. There's three of them in there. Now, a lot of these reels don't come with dust covers. This is a dust cover. A lot of these reels do not come with them. This one still has the felt ring on the inside that, you know, keeps things out and greasy and funky. You can put a little oil on that and it'll help things out, which we will do. You can put those dust covers on just about any one of these reels. Okay, now we are going to push, and this is going to be our drag system coming apart here. That comes out. Let's try to get the crank gear out first. Let's go that route. We got stuff falling everywhere. See, these things are just so well thought out. Okay, this is your drag system. This is your crank gear. You have a, see that drag washer on the bottom that's going to mount up to that guy right there. Actually, I can get that gear out now. And there's our gear. All right, now let's look down in there. You have your anti-reverse drag system, or your anti-reverse, I'm sorry, not drag, anti-reverse. Now, in order to get that out, you have screws in there. See if you can see them. See the screw over here, screw over here. Really all you need to do is loosen them. So anyway, once you loosen those screws, you are able to push back this piece under here. It slides. Okay, you can see that it's slid now. And that allows this entire anti-reverse system to come out. Lightly grab the whole system and just bring it out. See how that goes? And then you basically have your entire body ready to be cleaned. And that is what we are going to do, is take that and go clean it up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take all of this and go clean it up, and I shall return and we will begin the rebuilding process. All right, here we are. We're back with a bunch of clean stuff. The gear in this thing is in really good shape. Doesn't look like it was used very much. Gear really looks good. I love these pearly buttons, but sometimes you got to be careful with the oil that you use in these things because they will stain. Even though, yes, I'm infatuated as it is with spin cast reels in general, I find myself even more infatuated with, well, just like with anybody, with anything that you really like. And I really like the Abu Garcia stuff, the Abu-Matics. Some of my favorites, if not my favorite, I would have to almost say. Again, I've always loved the design of the Johnson Century in the Citation. I always thought it was a cool design. I wish they would have used better metals like you see inside the Abu-Matics here. Man, that would have been crazy awesome. But they were going with affordability. So the Abu-Matics, you know, you're talking about reels that probably outpriced other like Johnsons and Shakespeare's and Zebcos and stuff by probably $25 maybe back in the day. All right, let's start this ball rolling here on the put it back together process. So one of the first things that's got to go back is going to be your anti-reverse. Now you have to be careful. This little brass comes in and out of there. And now you have a little stop inside there that this hole for your anti-reverse lever that pivots on that stop right there. That's on that stop like it ought to be. Now what we got to do is we have to push this back over that little, that's what holds all that together. That is what holds that anti-reverse system in. And then I will tighten that screw, and I will tighten this screw. And therefore, we are tightened down with our anti-reverse there. Before you put the C-clip behind the gear, okay, you leave C-clip there, you put the gear in, the pinion gear slides up into the tunnel there. You're going to assemble the drag first, okay? First is going to be your brass bushing that goes in the bottom that's fitted like Charlie Brown's head there. You got the big ears and the round head. You have your little donut drag washer because your big drag washer's on the outside of that. Just going to lay that down there. Your crank gear, your big brass crank gear, which is going to probably move that drag washer. And you're just going to tuck it in underneath of that pinion gear. Now the reason that you do not put the C-clip in yet is because you need that little bit of distance right there that C-clip makes up to be able to get your crank shaft and the anti-reverse system and drag and all that fun stuff down in there. You're just going to drop that down in there quietly like that, and you're going to try to line everything up. And once it lines up, it'll fall right into place. It's spring loaded, as you can see there. And then we will commence. We're going to slip that in there. Come on now, line up. There we go. We had 2 of these little washers at the bottom, then our spring, then our next washer, drag star. And really what that does is it pulls everything together. So now you can let go of it. And then you remember reverse thread here, okay? So to tighten this on, you will be going counterclockwise. We'll get that gap that we need right there. See, that's that gap that we need right there. Drop that C-clip in there. Pop that into place. Your brass shaft has to go in. Remember, the thin side goes in first. What I'll do now is take my nurdle noses, run that up there like so. Then, really, the internal part of your reel is together. Mr. Button will go inside, and we can put this plate back on. Now, we have to remember that our plate has got this switch right here, so Got to go under there. You have to sneak it in underneath of the switch right there. You see that switch for letting go of your spool. Tighten these screws down. This was really clean. Then remember, you got a little stop on the bottom of your spool there, which lines up with the hole in the body. And you just stick that on there and bang, she pops right into place. Screw that in there. You'll hear her make some clicking noises. She's doing what she ought to be doing. This feels good. This feels good. It's been a while. Haven't been this fortunate in quite some time. And what really feels good is to be sitting here, not really all that much pain. Can't begin to tell you how good that feels. So there we go. Look at that guy. Abu-Matic 160. The first one I've ever had. Thank you, Leon. I appreciate that. Of course, this also has the kickback drag release on it. So when you get line on it, and you can pull it tight and you can set your drag and everything, and then you can kick back the release and all that stuff. But Abu-Matic 160. Very cool. First one I've ever done, first one I've ever owned. Again, the Abu-Matics, just a classy reel. Okay, let's just say we're talking about watches, for example, okay? You know, it's Timex, you know, it takes a lick and keeps on ticking kind of thing. That's kind of Zebco to me. That's Zebco. The reel you throw in the bed of the truck, you slam it against the wall in the corner, you do whatever, you drop it in the creek, you pull it out of the water, you fling. That's kind of your Timex. The old takes a lick and keeps on ticking thing. Then you can get up to, say, Citizen. Anybody's familiar with Citizen watches, or say Armatron or Casio, you know, those guys. Citizen's a little better than that. I think you're getting into what to me would be Johnson. You're talking about Johnson, like Citations and Centuries and things like that. A good reel, good watch. It does the job. It looks fancy, looks good. Has a problem every so often, maybe, but very seldom. Then you're going to get into Seiko. You know, Seiko's been around. Its name been around forever. You know, and it's one of those things that has kind of, I don't know if they're still as good as they used to be, but they used to be a good name in watches. Seiko was. To me, that's kind of Shakespeare. Shakespeare is kind of the same thing. Shakespeare was a different reel back in the 60s. They were really a well put together, well thought out tank of a reel that did the job. And that's kind of the way I feel about that. Then you're going to get up into your Rolexes. That's where I feel like the old Abu-Matic falls into place. Just a different breed. A different thought process, better metals, and still around and still able to take apart, fix it up, put it back together, and take that thing out there and go fishing. Not that you can't do that with any of these. Just a quality there that's different. Now, everybody's got their favorites. People love Zebco, people love Shakespeare, people love the Johnson, people love the Abu-Matics and things like that. I love them all, but I have a fascination with these Abu-Matics. I always have, and it goes way back, on back to the 120 there. That's just me. Hope you enjoyed this. This was fun for me. I thank Leon for sending these guys to me, because these are two, anyway, of the Abu-Matics I don't have, the 40 and the 160. Next on the list will be the 40. We're going to tear that 40 apart, see where the difference is there, see if there is a difference there. Who knows? It might not be much of a difference at all, but we'll see anyway. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Had a good time making this one. Been needing to tear some reels apart. Good to be sitting upright here like this. Look, I can raise my arms up. I ain't crying or anything. Oh, that didn't feel quite right. Felt like my L12 took the interstate, hung a right on the off-ramp. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Even though we kind of know what the next one's going to be. It's all right. It may not be that. It could be something different. I might talk about this rod that I bought that I'm not telling you about. Here comes Boo. What'd you say, Boo? What?